Okay.
Real quick, did I tell you about the cashier I had today though? I went to the grocery store, grocery shopping.
Uh,
Cashier was so high that he didn't ring up like half my items and he rang up like the other half probably twice.
yeah.
I hate self-checkout.
Stupid. So much energy. Put in your booby rocks. Live your best life. Keep doing you. So much energy. Let's stick together with some high kicks. Bow, bow. All right, Jeffy, welcome to this episode of So Much Energy. I'm your host, Jenny McKinney, and I am here with
That was pretty
Method
good.
Man.
Oh, God.
Jeff Jones, yes. Jeff Jones is my brother, and yes, I call him Jeff Jones. I did have somebody ask that about the podcast. They were like, oh, I didn't know Jeff Jones was your brother because you call him Jeff Jones.
It is my name.
They were like, I've never called my brother his full name. I'm like, sad. You should try that.
People at work are starting to notice I only spell it with one F.
Yeah.
Come,
The other one
I always
off.
say, I should use that. I always say it's because nobody ever pronounces the second F.
Yeah.
And a couple times I've been like, well, it's because I grew up with the sisters. I said my sisters are Jennifer and Jessica, but they can
Yeah.
get away with spelling their names Jen and Jes. They
Yeah.
can go by Jen and Jess, but I got to spell it Jeff. No,
No,
I'm not
you're
doing
not about
all that
that
extra
life.
writing.
Yeah, you should use the F'd off. It
I know,
F'd
the
off.
second one, F off. Yeah, that's good.
Speaking of F off, real quick, we played Uno last night. We had an Uno tournament, and when it gets a little dicey in there, you start using language, and and I had shared some choice words, and I was like, oh, but that's not with the F. It's just with the PH because I like you. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Sorry about that. So
I'm sure Mom understood. Oh, you can tell her to
Oh,
F
man.
off.
All right, Jeffy. So, real quick,
Yeah.
so Mercury's out of the microwave. It's
Oh,
out of
thank
Gatorade.
God. Thank God.
Seriously, last week was so crazy. I told you I would record an episode by myself because you were busy,
You did.
which
You did
we'll talk
say
about
that.
in a minute. And every night I had there's like a level of like on a scale of 1 to 10, like 10 being the most terrible dream I've ever had in my life. My
Right.
dreams were at like a level 15 every single night.
Really?
They were so terrible.
That sucks because I've probably only had a level 15 dream, like maybe like 4 or 5 in my life, and I
Yeah.
remember all.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
these were so terrible that where some are like, was that real life? You know what I
Yes.
mean? They're just so real, like you're emotional, crying, screaming, upset. The point of telling you that is, one, energy was crazy, and two, every time I went to record in the morning, because I like to go to the gym and then come back and then I'm like kind of refreshed, get the day started. Every time I went to record, something happened. Zoom didn't work right. I couldn't log in. The computer wasn't working right. Or Peanut would call and, we're on the phone for an hour. Then I missed my recording time. It was just like, as Dad always says, it's always something.
It's always something.
Yeah. So then when we talked on Friday, you're like, hey, how'd the recording go?
Yeah, I only said that because I'd seen that you'd never put an episode out, and I was out of town. And so I was like, hey, how'd that recording go? And you were like, oh,
And I'm
let
like,
me tell you.
It didn't. And then it was so crazy because of with my dreams, and I felt like it just threw me off for the day. Like I had to like get that out and off me, and it was just too much. And then by the time it was 9 o'clock and I had to log in for work. So yeah, it was rough. So here we are. We're back. We're back.
Speaking of dreams, though, I had a crazy dream. The other day we were at work. Okay, now I am.
This is
working.
real life?
Real life dream.
Yeah.
I was at work. No, yeah, this is what happened.
Oh, in the dream.
Nope, in real life.
Real life, sorry.
Yep. So
Okay.
I'm at work. Guy and I get to work, right? We unload a truck, do some stuff at this job site. Well, then we had 4 hours we had to kill.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
4 hours.
Yeah.
That's not like, that's a long time to just kill time.
Yeah.
Our boss was fine with it. The customer was fine with it. We had to wait. Problem was a truck got held up at the border over in Canada.
Where you
we were
can't
waiting.
leave. It's not long enough to leave and go home, but you got to
Right.
stay there.
And we were
it's-
far from our shop,
Oh,
so we weren't
okay.
going anywhere. So we just
Yeah.
hung out at the pickup truck, tailgating. Eventually, the guy I was working was like, hey, I'm going to take a nap. It was after lunch. He's like, I'm going to take a nap. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'll sit here and read the news or do whatever on my phone.
Yeah.
Well, then I dozed off. Okay. Now, I dozed off for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
In that 10 minutes, in this dream, Mike and I were moving something inside the plant, the factory we were at.
Okay.
Now, the thing is it was on top of this table was a paper cutter, old school, like art
Oh,
room paper cutter.
Where the blades like run so close.
Oh, so close. You can hear it
give
cut.
me the heebie-jeebies.
It does.
Yeah.
And we were on one of those were on the table. And I go, hey, let me move this. And as I grabbed the cutter, I realized where I grabbed it was right there, and the blade was up.
Oh.
And Mike laughed, and he smacked the blade down, and it cut off all of my fingers.
Oh.
I shot up in the truck, sitting in the seat. I shot out of my seat like really fast as soon as the blade hit my hand. And I realized, oh my gosh, I was dreaming. And I look over and it was Goodman, Mike, the guy next to me, was the one in my dream that it did it. And I'm looking at him and he woke up and he's looking at me and he's like, what's up, man? I said, nothing. I was like, gonna start giving him shit real quick. And then I realized, oh my God, it was a dream. I dozed off. I didn't even expect to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
We were laughing. Because I started telling him about the dream. I go, dude, we had a dream. I was moving this stupid table. Like, that was nothing similar to what we were even doing at the job.
Was he like,
Oh,
look,
yeah.
man, I'm not
Like,
about
dude,
to
he's
cut your
like,
fingers.
look. Yeah, he's like, look, just sit over there and look out the window.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought you didn't think you were taking a nap. Like, I wasn't. I don't know what happened.
I'm one of
man.
those, like, I told you, I'm like that baby doll that the minute I lay down, like, I'm out. I don't mess around.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah. Woo.
Ugh.
Well, hey, Jeffy,
Yes.
so last episode, which feels like a while ago,
It does.
we talked about Lochness, right?
Oh,
so
we did.
I was wondering if you might have an update.
I do have an update on remember the big crazy Lochness search? They shut it down for 48 hours. They had control of the lock, and they did everything they could to, like, infrared, sonar, X-ray, sound, crazy sound devices, invited the general public out. They tried to get people to surround the lock with their own webcams and cell phones and anything.
Yeah.
So they did all that and came up with nothing, Jen.
Are you serious?
They came up with nothing.
Nothing.
Now, this is what's bizarre,
Okay.
is after they had came out and said, hey, after the 48 hours, we did everything we could. We came up with zilch. After that, a lady comes out and says, I have footage of it from 2018. Okay? And so they're looking at this lady's footage, and it is the most remarkable Loch Ness Monster footage ever. Okay?
Why is she just coming out now? Why didn't she?
Exactly. So now there's a very skeptical people that are like, first off, you've had this since 2018.
Right.
Why are you just now coming out? Not to mention, why did you wait until the day after the announcement that they found nothing?
Right.
Like, and so there's a lot of skeptical people about it. Now, if you look this up online, you'll see the footage.
Okay.
Especially if it's from 2018, that should probably be in the title, 2018 Loch Ness Monster footage. Recent.
Okay.
And you'll see the footage, and it's pretty convincing footage of the Loch Ness Monster. It's not like jumping out of the water or anything crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just sketchy that the timing of it.
Right. Like, what's the intention
Very
now?
sketchy.
Why didn't you show it then? Why didn't you mention it during this whole investigation when you were...
Before the investigation?
Yeah.
Or anything.
Maybe did she not know about it?
I don't know. So now people are nitpicking the crap out of this footage, and they're going to try to debunk whether or not the footage is even real or not, because now there's a lot of people who want to prove her wrong. So if there's a hint that it's not, we'll hear about that.
Okay.
So right now there's people pretty much analyzing the crap out of this lady's footage and giving her a bunch of guff for the timing.
Timing, yeah.
So ultimately, no, nothing was discovered or found in the Great Search, the 48-hour Great Search.
I feel like he was on vacation. But
I don't know.
Whatever.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Crazy. Well,
So.
Jeffy, you sound a little bit older. I wanted to say that. So happy
thanks,
birthday.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, it was my birthday. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And a day of labor. Or no
Yep.
labor. You shouldn't be laboring on that day.
I was actually at work that whole day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Shoot.
It was laborious. It was a laborious day. It was right before I had to go out of town.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
For my
All right. I did want to ask because we talked about being ordained and stuff before, like different things that we have going on in life that we're certified in. And being ordained is one thing that we both have.
Yep.
Certificate in. We're registered with the Church of Online Ordained People. It's very official. It's very official. It just means we're legit.
Michigan, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it works. And so yeah, why don't you tell us about your little trip up north and then how the wedding went?
Yeah, the wedding went great. My buddy and his girl got engaged. They asked me to officiate the wedding. I gladly accepted that. Then they started shopping around for venues. Did I already kind of tell you about that? How they started shopping around? Oh, no. They started shopping around at venues and stuff. And given the amount of money that the venues were costing, they were like, God, it's expensive to have a wedding somewhere.
Yeah.
And so they got kind of stressed. And I don't want to say stressed or frustrated, but somebody
just
had
trying
asked,
to figure out other options.
Somebody had asked a couple, like, when you guys, what do you want to have for a wedding? And they're like, honestly, my buddy Jay was like, honestly, I'd rather just have it like up north on Lake Superior, small people, like just boom, done.
Oh, like little people?
No, like a small amount of people, not height wise. Although
Yeah,
our
like,
friend
oh,
Bill,
like,
our friend
okay.
Bill was there, and he's like 4'8".
Oh, snap. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
okay.
little fella. He's all right.
Yeah.
And her sister found a cabin up north that holds 34 people.
Okay.
It's right on Lake Superior. They bought the cabin for the whole week, invited 34 people to the wedding because that's what the cabin could hold.
Yeah.
Narrowed the list down to 34 people. Had a wedding up there on the beach. I got to officiate it. It was awesome. We were there for 1 week at this cabin in Autrain, Michigan.
Okay.
Up in Autrain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty desolate type area. You have to go about a half hour to hit anything cool.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. And so I pitched the couple about 4 or 5 scripts for the ceremony to like how to run things for the wedding itself. And they were kind of like, man, none of that sounds like anything you'd say. You know,
right.
I'm like, no, it's because I didn't write it.
Yeah.
They just wanted me to find some, they just wanted something quick and simple. So we just looked online, boom. They didn't like any of that. So they're like, would you mind just writing a ceremony? I'm like, I can write a ceremony. So I did. I spent about a week or two I wrote it pretty much in one night. And then I spent about a week or two taking stuff out, putting stuff in.
Just tweaking it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And my ceremony, Jen, had quotes, had Prince. Started off with Prince. Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to get through this thing called life. That's how I started it. So I started it with some Prince. And then I felt I needed to add some kind of like quotes or like not
just things that represent them.
Yeah, or sayings and things.
Yeah.
And so I had take a few excerpts out of advice from a Sasquatch.
Okay.
So I had worked some cryptid stuff into their ceremony for them.
You would.
So I'd worked in some stuff about cryptid and Sasquatch, advice from a Sasquatch in there about be yourself, that it's okay to show up unexpected, to embrace the unexplainable.
Yeah.
Like things like that, work that into there.
Right.
And then just got all the legal jargon we had to include in there, and boom, we were done.
Yeah.
But it was a great time. Great time had by all.
Nice. Was everyone like, oh, that was right up our alley?
Yeah, because really the couple had no idea if they wanted to have it outdoor, indoor, because we couldn't really go see the place because it was so far up north.
Yeah.
We couldn't really go see it prior to the going there.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So we showed up, did a quick lap around this giant ass cabin, figured out like, okay, if the weather's good, we could have it here. If the weather's not, we could have it here.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, it rained every day, all day, most of the time, except that day.
Oh, shoot.
It was the only day.
I was going to say the weather looked great. The water was gorgeous.
It was that day. prior to that and after that, not so much. But that day, it was great.
Yeah.
Although up the road, we found this place called Sculpture Land. It was actually called Leninen Land or something. Leninen Land. It was this guy's last name.
Okay.
And it was a drive-through sculpture park. And you just drive through it, and it's just all these sculptures this guy has made.
Yeah.
It was about a 3/4 mile drive. You could drive or walk. And we drove through it, looked at this guy's amazing, crazy sculptures. It was great. And it was funny because a lot of it was very political, like local political, not like national, but like more locally.
Yeah.
And you could tell that the people, local politicians and people like that have been trying to shut this guy down for years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. It wasn't an eyesore. It wasn't that. It was very clean, very organized. There was nobody that works there. It's open 24/7. You can drive through at 3 a.m.
Whoa.
It was crazy. And, it was really, really well done. Really inspiring as far as like.
And they're trying to shut it down?
No, it sounds like they just had a problem with the guy, or he had a problem with them.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of no trespassing, and then like there was the fine print, which is if you're a political. It listed a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Like if you're a part of any of these agencies, you're not, and it wasn't even like FBI, CIA. It was like if you're part of the local. It was all local stuff to the UP.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, it was odd.
Yeah.
But really well done though. And like
Dang.
even a lot of his art pieces reflected like pretty much like F you.
Oh, that's so funny.
You know,
did they have just like a donation spot, or did you just?
At the very end there was a spot for donations and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was just really well done. And I guess the guy had started this back in 2002 or something like that.
Whoa.
And so he just keeps adding to it, and it's already 3/4 mile long right now.
Shoot. That's
It's awesome. It was awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, hey, congrats to Jay and Becca.
Yep, they finally tied the knot after being together for 15 years. Yeah.
I mean, whatever works.
Hang on.
Speaking of timing, like, isn't it interesting, like, when people pick a time, like, why now? You know what I mean? I'm not getting in their business. I'm just saying people do what they want. But I'm sure it would be interesting to see how many people had given them a hard time, you know, about being together for so long.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just because, you know, they just project on you.
Yeah, I honestly just thought they were going to be one of those people that just were a couple your whole life and they just never got married.
Yeah. And then when you find out that they're not married, you're like what?
Right. They don't want kids, or neither of them do, or anything like that. Like, they have everything they need.
Yeah.
Like, why make it official at this point?
Yeah.
It's already common law, pretty much.
It's funny because isn't it interesting when people are like, oh, yeah, we've been together for 15 and married for 1. Like, isn't it interesting when you're like, oh, instead of saying like, oh, we've been married together, or we've been together for, you know, whatever. They have to advertise like how long they've been married.
It is funny because like a few weeks ago was our anniversary, and at work I'd mentioned it to a guy, and we were talking about it at lunch, and there was 3 or 4 of us out there, and they were like, oh, how long you guys been together? And it is too. It's like, well, we've been together since 2002. We've been married since 2007.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
right. Like, you have to advertise how long it took for you to date before
right. We've been together for 21 years. But we've been married for 16. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then, of course, the one guy was like, oh, you've been married for 16. He's like, don't you have like an 18-year-old kid? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. He was at the wedding.
He was.
Actually. He was so tiny.
It was, yeah. Yeah. He's walking around with his Thomas. Walking around with his Thomas. He had a suit on, though, which was always fun.
Yeah. Super cute. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man. Good stuff. All right,
Good
Jeffy.
times.
Well, yeah, I think that's it for this week, and we're ready to hit another episode. We're making sure we're not going to miss an episode, so we got to get to the next one.
Jen, I got an idea. Next episode, would you be willing to take a quiz?
Yeah.
All right, I have a quiz.
I'll take a quiz.
What cryptid are you?
Oh, okay.
And I was hoping to put it in this show, but we'll save it for the next one.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll see you next week.
All right, have a good one.
Okay.
Peace.